fans, I'm Jason Gibble at JGibble11, breaking down my favorite stacks for the day. We had a ton of stacks go off yesterday, and a lot of repeat stacks I'll be looking at today. Cubs, obviously, it was a lot of the back half guys, Baez, Alex Avila, Jason Hayward. It wasn't really the front half guys all that much. Yankees were a team that goes off, and obviously they get Jordan Zimmerman tonight. Houston's a team that I'm really interested in, and I think they're going to kind of be a little bit overowned because of those names. So, kind of start things off here. I do want to talk Houston. Edwin Jackson, he's an arm that I do like to target heavily whenever he's on the mound or even in the majors. 368 WOBA to righties this year with a 15.1% strikeout rate. Against lefties, 335 WOBA. 250 ISO allowed to both sides of the plate there. Doesn't miss a lot of bats. Minute Maid's a decent ballpark. Lineup is loaded top to bottom, but a lot of these right-handed bats that do hit righties well, this is a good spot given the fact that Jackson has struggled against them more than not. So Jose Altuve, Alex Bregman, George Springer, obviously three expensive arms. I mean, Bregman's been on fire, but I think, going with Gobley, going with a Weaver, you can fit some of these higher price stacks in tonight. So with that being said, I do like Houston. They've averaged 5.6 runs per game this year. That's first in the majors. A lot of upside. You can look at guys like Marwin Gonzalez, Gurriel, Josh Reddick as kind of the round out the stack. There's about 4 or 5 guys you can go with there. But yeah, one of the higher run totals tonight, I expect once again the Cubs to kind of be a team that gets most of the ownership, given the fact that they went off last time against Asher, and should go tonight. And obviously, with the Yankees going off last night and now facing Jordan Zimmerman, I don't think people are going to remember the last Jordan Zimmerman start where he went into Yankee Stadium and shut them out for 7 innings. So I expect them to be popular. I like Houston as a good pivot away from those two teams, but obviously the Cubs come in as a team that I'm really looking to stack. Chris Bryant banged up. He may or may not be in the lineup, but that doesn't really affect things for me. That lineup is deep. It's always one that you can stack really 1 through 8. So you look at Asher, 342 WOBA to righties, 373 WOBA to lefties this year. Small sample size, but he throws the fastball about 62% of the time. That's not really encouraging for any pitcher. Last time out, he was pummeled by the Cubs, 7 earned over 3.2 innings, 2 long balls. Cubs have one of the highest implied run totals on the slate. I think, once again, if you want to look at that game, last night was interesting because, the Reds kind of presented a contrarian way, and I think that's the same tonight. But Mike Montgomery, he rolls a ton of ground balls, only an 18% fly ball rate to right-handers. That's kind of troubling. I still like some of the righties in that lineup. I think Cozart and even Votto is interesting, obviously, with the lefty-lefty matchup. But Suarez, a couple of those bats, Duvall. Interesting 4-man stack there if you want to be on the contrarian side again, because once again, I don't think that the Reds are going to draw a ton of interest, but with Montgomery's ground ball rates, he's not going to be stretched out going deep into the game. You're only going to get him through about 5 innings, and the Cubs bullpen's been kind of on and off lately. So in that ballpark, Cubs are obviously a top stack of the night, but I think Reds on the other side are also contrarian to that. Yankees, obviously, this is a team that just mashed yesterday. They were on all cylinders. Going up against Jordan Zimmerman today, that's an interesting one because obviously he dominated them back in Yankee Stadium. Yankees offense that kind of was struggling really before that last blow-up. But there's a ton of upside here against Zimmerman. I'm not expecting Zimmerman to go out there and throw 7 shutout innings again. Below 40% ground ball rate against both sides, 381 WOBA to lefties this year. Brett Gardner, Aaron Hicks, Didi Gregorius, all over 200 ISO against righties this season. And Zimmerman, 351 WOBA to right-handers. Gary Sanchez coming off a big night. Aaron Judge was a strong night, even though he, didn't homer, but, got on base, I think, 4 or 5 times. So you look at this one, I think the Yankee stack is back in play here. Zimmerman allowed 17 earned runs since that Yankees start, blew up his last 2. So I think the Yankees are obviously going to come as a popular one, but one that's well-deserving. So if you're looking on the contrarian side, again, Seattle's interesting. Obviously shut out last night. That was a little bit of a bummer against Lucas Sims. And R.A. Dickey, he's been fine. Fine's actually probably understatement. Hasn't allowed over 4 earned runs since the start back in June. He's pitching deep in the games. He's still giving up a ton of base runners, yet the blowups really aren't really there. Near a 5 xFIP against lefties, allowing a 312 WOBA. Against righties, 354 Woba with the 4.81 xFIP. Mariners have actually seen Dickey actually quite a bit with some of these guys in their career. Over 131 at bats with this lineup, 267 average, and just an 11% strikeout rate. FIP also over 4.5. So this is kind of an interesting one. You know, targeting a knuckleballer is always risky, but I do like the righties here. I like Segura. I like Cruz if he's in the lineup. I like Mitch Haniger, and then I obviously don't mind Cano or Seager in this spot here. Or Yonder Alonso as well. I think, you know, Seattle's an interesting contrarian stack tonight to go with. You know, I think people will take the one-off approach with some of these guys, but I think in terms of a total in that ballpark, there's a ton of upside. And we've seen Dickey blow up before. It hasn't happened lately. If you've been stacking against Dickey nonstop this season, it's been a losing season. But overall, I think this is a contrarian way to go tonight. Dickey could certainly go out there and fire 7 innings and give up 2 earned runs again, or he's knocked down super earlier and you get a bottom 10 bullpen in Atlanta for the rest of the game. So Seattle's a good stack for me if you're looking to kind of build multiple laps and be a contrarian, or maybe even just mixing them in and out of other stacks. So that's going to wrap it up. You can ignore DaveFantasyCafe.com to get great tools and content.